Imagine walking into a room where each wall tells a story, where every piece of art feels perfectly placed, drawing your eye across the space in a way that feels natural and welcoming. That's the power of a thoughtfully displayed art collection, no matter its size. Today, we're diving into the world of art display, sharing tips and tricks that make it easy to create walls that feel intentional, expressive, and personal. Decorating with art is like writing your own story on your walls. It's one of the most personal and impactful ways to infuse your home with style, personality, and emotion. From classic paintings and modern art prints to quirky vintage posters and family photos, the art you choose and how you display it can tell a story that's uniquely yours. But with so many ways to show off art, it can be overwhelming to know where to start. Let's start by thinking about the basics. How to position artwork so it makes a statement and complements the space it's in. One of the most fundamental concepts in art display is height. Many people make the mistake of hanging art too high. A good rule of thumb is to keep the center of your artwork at eye level. In general, that means around 57 to 60 inches from the floor, which is the average eye level for most people. But this rule isn't set in stone. In rooms where people are usually seated, like living rooms or dining rooms, consider lowering the artwork a bit so that it aligns with seated eye level. In this way, your art feels more integrated into the space rather than floating above it. Choosing the right wall space is another important consideration. Not every wall needs art, and blank spaces can be just as powerful in a room as the walls that hold art. When deciding where to hang your pieces, look at the natural flow of your room and choose walls that serve as focal points. For example, a wall above a sofa, bed, or console table often works beautifully as an anchor for a large art piece or a collection. Remember, too, that your art should enhance the space and not feel crammed in. If you have several pieces, consider grouping them to create a gallery wall instead of spreading them out, as this can create a more cohesive look. Speaking of gallery walls, this is one of the most popular ways to display art because it allows for endless creativity. To create a stunning gallery wall, start by gathering pieces that work well together, whether by theme, color palette, or frame style. Then, arrange the pieces on the floor to find a layout you love before transferring it to the wall. A great trick here is to use paper cutouts of your frames and tape them to the wall so you can get a sense of how the gallery will look without making any marks on the wall. Gallery walls can be symmetrical or completely random. The key is to ensure there's some consistency, whether that's in spacing, frame style, or color scheme. Let's talk about frames, because the frame you choose can have a huge impact on the overall look of your art display. If you're going for a modern minimalist look, consider simple frames in black, white, or natural wood. For a more eclectic or vintage vibe, mix and match frame styles, colors, and finishes. You can even go frameless if you want a clean, contemporary look. Many people love the simplicity of floating frames or canvas prints for a modern feel. And don't forget about matting. Adding a mat around a piece of art can give it breathing room and help it stand out, especially if the artwork is on the smaller side. Lighting is another essential element when it comes to displaying art. Without the right lighting, even the most beautiful pieces can look dull or washed out. Natural light is wonderful, but it's not always available or controllable. Installing adjustable wall sconces, picture lights, or track lighting can add the right amount of focus to your pieces. Aim for lighting that's warm and doesn't cast harsh shadows. If you're displaying art near windows, consider how the sunlight will hit the art at different times of the day, as direct sunlight can fade colors over time. If you're working with a collection of smaller pieces, don't hesitate to experiment with asymmetry. While symmetrical arrangements offer a classic look, asymmetrical layouts are often more dynamic and can add energy to a space. For example, try arranging a cluster of smaller artworks around a larger focal piece. Keep a balance between the sizes and shapes of the pieces so the layout doesn't feel too heavy on one side. Asymmetry works particularly well in contemporary spaces and can be a fun way to add a bit of character to your display. Another interesting approach is to lean art instead of hanging it. This creates a more casual, layered look and is ideal for renters or for people who like to change things up often. You can lean art on shelves, mantels, or even on the floor for a modern bohemian vibe. Layering pieces of different sizes can add depth, and you can even mix in decorative items like vases or plants to create a curated vignette. Leaning art is also a great option for larger pieces, as it creates a sense of scale and intimacy without the commitment of putting nails into the wall. For those with limited wall space, don't overlook alternative display methods. Easels are a fantastic way to showcase art, especially larger pieces. They allow you to move art around easily and give your space a gallery-like feel. This approach works well in open concept spaces, as an easel can act as a subtle divider. Another option is to use shelving. Floating shelves or picture ledges give you the flexibility to switch out art whenever you like, without needing to rehang anything. This is perfect for rotating seasonal artwork or displaying different parts of a collection. The style of art you're displaying can also influence the way you choose to showcase it. Abstract art, for instance, often benefits from larger, open wall spaces that let it breathe and make a statement on its own. On the other hand, vintage posters or smaller prints might look fantastic in a more intimate arrangement, like a gallery wall in a hallway or staircase. Mixing different styles of art, like pairing a traditional landscape with a contemporary abstract piece, can add an interesting layer to your decor, making the space feel collected over time rather than decorated in one go. If you're interested in creating a unique display, consider using unexpected places for art. Bathrooms, for example, are often overlooked but can benefit greatly from a touch of art. Smaller pieces work well here, and framed prints can add a pop of color or a touch of elegance to the space. Similarly, kitchens are wonderful places for art, especially above cabinets or on open shelving. Just be mindful of humidity in bathrooms and kitchens, and choose frames or protective glass to keep your art safe from moisture. One of the most common challenges people face is choosing the right size of art for their space. As a general rule, if you're hanging art above a piece of furniture like a sofa or console table, aim for a piece that's about 2/3 the width of the furniture. This creates a balanced look that doesn't overwhelm the furniture or feel too small. For larger wall spaces, consider using oversized art to make a bold statement. Large pieces can have a dramatic effect and become instant focal points, especially in entryways or open concept living areas. Consider also the type of room you're decorating. In a living room, art should feel conversational, something that enhances the overall vibe of relaxation and gathering. In bedrooms, art should feel serene and calming, perhaps with softer colors or abstract shapes that create a sense of peace. In a home office, art can be more inspiring and energizing. Choose pieces that motivate you or reflect your passions. Each room has its own energy, and the art you choose should complement that feeling while adding a unique personal touch. And don't forget about sculptural art. While wall art is popular, three-dimensional pieces like sculptures, wall hangings, and ceramics add depth and interest to a room. A beautiful sculpture on a console table or a hanging textile piece can bring a sense of texture and movement that two-dimensional art can't achieve. Consider mixing sculptures with traditional art to create a more dynamic, layered look. Finally, remember that displaying art is a creative process. and there's no right or wrong way to do it. The most important thing is that the art you choose and how you display it makes you happy and feels true to your style. Whether you're a fan of perfectly symmetrical gallery walls or prefer a more casual, layered approach, the goal is to create a space that feels personal and inspiring. Don't be afraid to experiment. Try moving pieces around, leaning them instead of hanging, or creating unexpected groupings until you find the arrangement that feels just right. In the end, displaying art is about more than just filling wall space. It's a way to showcase your taste, tell a story, and create a home that feels uniquely yours. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, these tips will help you turn your art into a beautifully curated part of your living space.